Let's get right into it. Number 7. Fish skin grafts for burn victims. Picture this. You wake up in a Brazilian hospital with burns so bad your skin looks like melted plastic. The doctor walks in and says, "We're gonna wrap you in fish skin." You'd think you're trapped in some twisted nightmare, right? But they're dead serious, and they're using tilapia skin. Yeah, the same fish that was probably on your dinner plate last Tuesday. Tilapia skin is basically nature's Band-Aid on steroids. It's loaded with collagen, the exact same stuff that holds your skin together. When doctors slap it on burns, it becomes a living shield. Normal burn treatment is pure torture. Nurses rip off your bandages every single day, and each time feels like they're peeling off what's left of your skin. Patients literally scream in agony. But fish skin? They put it on once and leave it there for weeks. No daily torture sessions, no screaming. The pain drops so much that patients can actually sleep. And burns that normally take 1 month to heal, they're closing up in 2 weeks flat. This whole thing started because Brazilian hospitals couldn't afford the fancy burn treatments. They were desperate, so they looked at fish waste and thought, what if? They sterilized that fish skin so hard it's cleaner than a surgeon's hands. You can't smell fish. You can't taste fish. The only giveaway? Those scale patterns that temporarily make you look like you're cosplaying as Aquaman's broke cousin. Number 6. Vampire bat saliva for stroke victims. There's a tiny vampire out there saving human brains, and I'm not talking about some Twilight nonsense. Real vampire bats have this insane superpower in their spit. When they bite, their saliva keeps blood flowing like a river. No clots, no stopping. Scientists saw this and their minds exploded with possibilities. Here's why this matters. When you have a stroke, it's usually because a blood clot is choking your brain. Every second counts. Brain cells start dying by the millions. Normal treatment, you've got maybe 3 hours before permanent brain damage sets in. Miss that window? You're looking at paralysis, speech problems, or worse. But this bat spit protein, which is called desmodoplase, gives doctors 9 whole hours. That's triple the time to save your brain from turning into dead tissue. Regular clot-busting drugs are like using dynamite to clear a blocked pipe. Sure, the clot's gone, but so is half your plumbing. This vampire spit, it's like a precision laser. It melts only the clot, leaving healthy brain tissue untouched. The protein is so specific it ignores everything except the exact clot that's killing you. It's like having a GPS-guided missile for blood clots. Number 5. Electric shock therapy for depression. Your brain is like a computer stuck in an endless crash loop. Nothing works. Every antidepressant has failed. You can't remember what happiness feels like. Then your doctor suggests electrocuting your brain. Here's what happens. They knock you out cold. Then they stick electrodes on your head and trigger a controlled seizure. Your brain literally reboots itself. During that seizure, your brain goes into overdrive. It dumps massive amounts of feel-good chemicals. Serotonin, dopamine. It's like your brain suddenly remembers how to be happy. Doctors stumbled on this by pure accident. Back in the 1900s, they noticed depressed patients who had seizures would suddenly snap out of their depression, like someone flipped a switch. Modern electric convulsive therapy is nothing like those horror movies. You're unconscious. You feel nothing. The whole thing takes 15 minutes, and you wake up with zero memory of it happening. The success rate is insane. While antidepressants work for maybe 60% of people, electric convulsive therapy works for 80 to 90%. And it works fast. We're talking days, not months. Electric convulsive therapy makes your brain produce something called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, basically Miracle-Gro for brain cells. It doesn't just reset your mood. It helps your brain physically rebuild itself. New connections form. Dead zones come back to life. Your brain literally grows its way out of depression. One controlled shock, and suddenly life has color again. Number 4. Drinking silver for infections. Before antibiotics existed, people were so desperate to fight infections, they literally drank liquid metal. They would drink something called colloidal silver, tiny particles of actual silver floating in water. Sounds like something an alchemist would cook up, right? But it worked. The silver would nuke bacteria on contact. Infections that meant certain death would clear up. Here's the catch, though. Drink too much, and your skin turns blue. Forever. Not a subtle blue tint. We're talking full Smurf mode. Your entire body becomes a permanent cosplay of Papa Smurf's long-lost brother. The condition's called argyria. Once that silver gets under your skin, it's there for life. No cure, no reversal. You're blue until you die. But people were so terrified of infections, they'd risk it. Better blue than dead, right? Number 3. Honey on wounds instead of antibiotics. Imagine you've got this nasty wound that just won't heal. You've tried every antibiotic in the book, but nothing's working. Then your doctor walks in with honey. Not the bear-shaped bottle from your kitchen. This is medical-grade honey, nature's nuclear option against bacteria. Ancient Egyptians knew this secret 4,000 years ago. They slathered honey on everything from cuts to surgical wounds. Turns out they were onto something huge. When honey touches your wound, it transforms into a chemical weapons factory. It starts producing hydrogen peroxide, basically slow-release bleach for bacteria. But unlike the hydrogen peroxide that makes you scream when mom pours it on your scraped knee, this is gentle, controlled, precise. The honey creates this sticky barrier that bacteria absolutely hate. It's too acidic, too thick, too full of compounds that make bacteria want to die. This honey can kill bacteria that our strongest antibiotics can't touch. Yeah, the superbugs that laugh at normal antibiotics couldn't survive bee vomit. Hospitals are literally saving people from amputation with honey. Diabetic ulcers that won't heal for months? Slap on some honey, and they start closing up. The honey they use isn't your breakfast honey, though. It's been nuked with radiation to make it sterile and supercharged. You're basically putting radioactive bee puke on your wounds. One specific type, Manuka honey from New Zealand, is so powerful it has its own medical grading system. The higher the grade, the more bacterial death it delivers. Number 2. Magnets pulling depression from your brain. Your depression is so severe that every pill has failed. You've tried them all. Nothing works. Then your doctor says, let's stick magnets on your head. Sounds like snake oil, right? But transcranial magnetic stimulation is legit brain science. Think of depression like a car with a dead battery. Your mood circuits are there, but they're not firing. Transcranial magnetic stimulation is like jumper cables for your neurons. You sit in a chair, fully awake. They put this magnetic coil against your skull. It sends rapid magnetic pulses straight through your skull into the exact brain regions that control mood. These pulses make your sleepy neurons wake up and start talking to each other again. It's like forcing a conversation between brain cells that ghosted each other. No surgery, no anesthesia, no flooding your body with chemicals, just targeted magnetic waves telling specific brain cells, hey, start working. Unlike pills that carpet bomb your entire body with side effects, transcranial magnetic stimulation is a sniper shot. It only hits the depressed parts of your brain. The worst side effect is maybe a headache. Number 1. Malaria fever to cure syphilis. This is the most insane medical treatment that actually worked. Doctors deliberately gave people malaria to cure their syphilis. Not making this up. Back in the early 1900s, syphilis was a death sentence. Especially neurosyphilis, when the bacteria invaded your brain and slowly drove you insane before killing you. Then this Austrian doctor had the world's craziest idea. What if we give them malaria? His logic was malaria causes sky-high fevers. Maybe those fevers could cook the syphilis bacteria to death. So they'd inject you with actual malaria parasites, on purpose, in a hospital. Your temperature would spike to 105.8 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hot enough to fry an egg on your forehead. Hot enough to literally cook bacteria alive inside your body. You'd shake violently, hallucinate, feel like death itself was crawling through your veins, because it basically was. But it worked. The fever would murder the syphilis bacteria. Then doctors would cure the malaria with quinine. It's like setting your house on fire to kill termites, then calling the fire department. Completely nuts, but effective. The success rate? About 25%, which sounds terrible until you remember the alternative was 100% certain death with your brain rotting from the inside. This treatment was so revolutionary that the doctor who invented it, Julius Wagner Jahreg, won the Nobel Prize in 1927. They gave him the world's top medical honor for deliberately infecting people with malaria. But here's where it gets truly bizarre. Hospitals needed a steady supply of malaria to treat patients, so they'd infect volunteers with malaria just to keep the parasite strain alive. There were actual human malaria farms, people whose job was being a living petri dish for parasites. They'd get infected, doctors would harvest their blood, then use it to infect syphilis patients. Imagine that job interview. So what do? Oh, I'm a professional malaria host. This insanity continued until the 1940s when penicillin showed up and made the whole fever therapy obsolete. Suddenly you could cure syphilis with a simple shot, instead of playing parasite poker with your life. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.